Welcome and thank you for joining San Diego Real Estate Talk with Rosita. I'm Rosita, your host and realtor with Coldwell Banker Realty. Last week, we talked about real estate and divorce and the challenges faced when dividing assets, specifically in real estate. Today, we're back with my guest, Christina Johnson. Hey, Christina.
Oh, hi. Great to be here. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Christina is a realtor, been a realtor for like 25 years, and she has experience in dealing with divorce and real estate. So today we're going to continue on the topic, giving solutions, but we're breaking it out even more because each section there's so much to do in each section. So we don't want to just throw stuff out to you. So we're going to divide it segment by segment. So realtors can provide valuable assistance to couples going through a divorce by offering solutions to the challenges that they face. The first one we're going to talk about today is disagreements on sale price. Christina, this one is huge.
Yeah, oftentimes people come to us and they each have a very different idea on what the value of the home is. And so there are some ways that we can help them navigate that. One of the ways is we can do something we call a CMA, or a comparative market analysis. And that is the realtor's assessment of value. And we use very similar criteria to what appraisers use. But essentially, we go in, we look at properties in the same location that are similar in condition, square footage, bedrooms, and baths. And we give an estimate of what we think the home would sell for at today's market. That could change in San Diego like a month from now, as you know.
Absolutely. Okay. And then bringing that price, that suggested price, to the couple, that can, depending on where they're at emotionally, financially, that could cause a dispute still.
Yeah, it could. I mean, the biggest thing is, where they're at financially. Often couples want, one couple might have, more monies available than the other. The other might be feeling more of a financial strain. And so both will agree that they want to get as much money out of the home as possible. So oftentimes when I do have couples who disagree, maybe they're off by like $10,000 or $20,000. One person thinks it's worth $910, the other thinks it's worth $875. We can do something called a variable range. And what that allows us to do is to bring in buyers who have set up a home search with their realtor, who are looking in anything under $910,000. So, but that criteria is very specific. So if someone's looking at, $860, then, and this is the bottom range is $875, it's not going to show up on their search.
The other thing when you're talking about the sale price is there's already contention in the divorce, right? Mm-hmm. So what would you suggest when both parties are kind of have their heels in the ground, so to speak?
They can pay for an appraisal. So you can get the property appraised and then base the sales price off of the appraised value. But it's also important to know one of the things we used to be able to do was we used to be able to provide the copy of the appraisal to the buyer. They don't allow that anymore unless the appraiser agrees to sign off, and most of them won't sign off on that. So this is strictly just to give you an idea of what the current value is. That's no guarantee it's going to sell at that price because there's other factors, interest rates, how many buyers are actually searching in that area, in that price range. But at least this is something that makes both parties feel confident with what to list the house at.
And I think that's a very important role for realtors, to be able to bring some light in terms of, yes, you want this price, right? And it's worth this much, but the market is not agreeing with that. So then going back to the goal is, what is your goal? If you have to get it sold by a certain date, or if you just want to sell it right away, then these are the challenges that we face. And as realtors, we can bring the stats, if you will, to show them, yeah, it is worth this much, but what I do a lot of times is I'll do the sold properties as well and show them that, hey, it was selling for 900,000, let's just say. But that was the list price, 900,000, but the sold price was like 875, and it's comparable to your property.
Yeah. Well, I also call on pendings because, and I'll just explain, you know, of course, a lot of listing agents, they can't really disclose the price. But if I explain to them, listen, I have a divorcing couple, one of them wants to buy out the other. We're trying to get an idea of the value. Can you give me an idea of when this is going to close and around what price point it will be at? And that will give us a good idea on what the market's doing in this area. And that's very helpful to know, because if the most recent one was 875 and then this one's going to be at 950, you know, we don't know the situation with that 875 and why it's sold at that price. So we have to talk to the agents on the other side to get more information. And that helps us with evaluating the property and the price.
Right. And it's also important. Sometimes what I do is I do like a price tour. Like, let's go take a look at the house in your neighborhood just to get an idea, you know, because you could say 900 and you still need updates, or, you know, looks like a potential foundation issue. I mean, there's so many things that pictures don't tell you.
Yeah. $7,000 in termite work that needs to be done is something that has to be considered. And it's the same thing, you know, obviously a lot of the next big question people have on the reason they want to know the value is they want to know what it would what it would sell for, what their takeaway would be. And I know we'll get into that, just, you know, providing a net sheet and what those numbers are. And we'll get into that. But also sometimes there's someone who wants to buy out the other, and a broker price opinion or a CMA is something they can use to estimate how much they would need to take from a refinance or from an equity line of credit in order to pay out the other spouse. And that's the other useful thing with having that.
Yeah, because really it's tied into the financial motivation and responsibility, which that will be a whole nother segment. It's not just a matter of selling the house. It's now an emotional matter, how am I going to move forward and live? There's so many different issues happening in this one transaction. It's not a typical transaction.
No. And I think, you know, sometimes when you start with this, then as the realtor, we can help to navigate them towards the true first step. You know, what is the true first step you need to take in order for us to get to this point where you're actually selling the home? And it's a confusing time. And so that's why, you know, you doing these videos is so helpful.
It really is, because I had no idea what you had to go through. It's so much. But so you talked about disagreements, how a solution to the disagreements on sale price is doing the CMA, comparative market analysis. An appraisal would be helpful, but again, keep in mind that the market really bears what the price is going to be.
Yeah, and we get fairly close to what an appraisal would be. So it's not going to be much of a difference. And appraisers are expensive. It's $600 and they would need to share the cost in that. So most people don't want to do that.
You know, it would be helpful. And please, those watching, comments below, what would be helpful for you guys going through it? Like what questions do you have? And then maybe we can answer your specific.
I love that idea.
Yeah. But this is specifically kind of like a general of when you have disagreements, here's what you can do. But of course, there's going to be varying answers, right? Because one couple might be amicable. The other couple could be, oh, no, that's not going to happen. I'm not selling the house, you know, really go through a lot to sell the house. So each situation is different. So please feel free to reach out to either one of us and we can kind of give you a mini plan of how to move forward with that. So, Christina, we have about 4 minutes left. Any other suggestions that you have?
I would say that this is a difficult process, and I know that it can be difficult to put emotions aside because, you know, it's a tough time. There may be some pain and bitterness and anger and resentment, I would say do your best to try to stay calm and try to stay cooperative, because actually that will save you money in the long run. The less you have to go back and forth with attorneys, if there are attorneys participating in this, the more money you'll actually save. And in the long run, everyone wants to walk away with as much money as they can get from the home. And if you're so stuck in just arguing and winning, then most of your money is actually going to go to the attorney. So I would say try your best to just try to remain amicable and cooperative through the process, even though I know it's really difficult.
The emotional attachment to not just the marriage, but also to the house can be overwhelming. One of the mentors that I had as I was going through my situation was look at it as a business transaction. And I know how difficult that is. But at this point, like Christina said, the more you can just, focus on selling the property, the less it will cost you in attorney fees. And I promise it could go up to the 20, 30,000 if it keeps going back and forth. And emotionally, the less it will be on you. Because remember, stress, the emotion brings on stress a lot of times, especially in a divorce. And it takes a hold of your body. Medical stuff starts to happen, starts to manifest from all the stress that we go through.
Yeah.
It's not just about money. It's about your well-being.
Yeah. And moving forward in as peaceful a way as you can. It's scary to start over. Like we've talked about, the idea of what you thought your life would be is now completely different. You have to reimagine your life in a different way. It's a big question mark, and it's scary and it's emotional. And so having people around you on your team, that includes lenders, realtors, friends, family, and an attorney that are really going to be a strong support system for you. That is extremely important. You need that when you're going through this process.
Absolutely. And if you can get into a community that is going through the same thing, get out there and be involved. Just to attend is being involved. If you don't want to say anything, that's fine. But to know that you're not alone, but to be around people who have been through it and can help you, guide you through it. Therapy is always good. I had to go into therapy because it was a huge blow. And the thought of starting over as you get older it's overwhelming.
It is better on the other side.
So, Christina, how can people get in contact with you?
Just my phone number is the best way. Call or text anytime with questions. My number is 858-334-9422.
Thank you. And I know that you have a hilarious, is it on Instagram? I think it is.
Yeah, it's on Instagram and TikTok. It's at My Big Fat Realtor Life. And also just recorded a new episode of Real Estate is Crazy. So we're going to be posting that story. So yeah, they can check that out if they're interested in some interesting stories about real estate.
Now, Christina is a very serious realtor and she gets the job done. She goes over and above for her clients. I can attest to that because I have watched it several times with some of her clients. But
yeah,
laughter is the best medicine.
I agree.
My name is Rosita Perez. I'm your host and realtor with Coldwell Banker. Please reach out to me with any questions that you might have. My number is 619-665-9086. My website is rositasellshomestoday.com. We will see you next week for another segment of solutions to the challenges that you may go through in a divorce. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.